record. It's another episode of Wearable Today, episode number 81. We can't connect to the LDAP server. We tried, didn't work. My name is Jeffrey Powers. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about a company that actually is putting RFID chips into their employees. And they like it. And we're also going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going to be reviewing this right here. It's the Jabra Sport headset, Bluetooth, dangling off in the world. But that, of course, we got that and a whole bunch more on this episode of Wearable Today. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to Wearable Today, the show where we wear and it's today, so we're wearable today. At least that's what they say. So, my name is Jeffrey Powers. You can find me over at Geekazine, Think Magazine, Put in a Geek, Twitter handle Geekazine. As always, my cohort in crime, the man with the plan, Stu Levitan, and Birdie.
Actually, my name is Luke Wallace. You can find me on Google Plus at google.com/plus Luke Wallace. Or you can find me on Twitter, Luke Luca, LUKELUCA.
Cool. And what do you think? Well, first of all, some of you might be noticing that there is a small little change in the format. Looks a little bit different. So what are your thoughts on this, on what we're doing here today, Luke?
It's different. I like it. It definitely gives the show more of a, talking heads feel, or now I can talk to you and people can be looking at both of us at the same time.
If I turn like this and you turn the other way. Yeah, nope, the other way.
Other way? This way?
We could talk like this. How you doing, Luke?
I'm doing quite well tonight, Jeffrey. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty good. You look rather big.
Yeah, I believe that's just a camera trick.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe that I'm actually much larger than you.
No, I'm much larger than you. That's for sure. So, all right. Well, let's start off this show with the thing we call big news, little arms. You kind of chopped up there. I think you broke the internet when you did that. Breaking
the internet.
First of all, everything's over at Wearable Today, and it looks like Marco actually put in a new post. So you can go over to wearabletoday.com. Really quick, the reason why we're doing this, I just want to talk about this for a second. The reason why we're doing this new format, which is basically not streaming off of Google Hangouts and actually just doing a straight-up record, is because last week we did an hour and 10 minutes, and only 47 minutes of that got recorded for some reason. So if there's any hiccups, the hiccups will end up being on Luke's side, which is kind of manageable, but you'll still get the full show. Means a little bit of more post-producing on my end, but that's how that goes. We're going to have a full show, and of course, my audio, my video is actually look nice. And Luke's audio and video, I don't care about that. So don't be sad. Don't cry. Don't cry for me, Luke.
I'm not crying. Everything's fine. So, do you want to get into the news now?
All right, let's get into the news. Let's start. Let's start right here.
Right over here. This is. Ooh, yes. First up, still think wearables are only for the wrist or feet? Well, The Guardian has an article profiling Cute Circuit, a company that's been building technological wearables for 11 years. They aren't the wearables you would normally think of, though. Instead, they're things like rings and dresses that contain technology to enhance their look. One of their most famous examples is a dress they made for Katy Perry back in 2010. It got them a lot of press. They also discuss wearables with another company, Intelligent Textiles, which focuses on military applications like providing a single battery source for all of the tech that a soldier is wearing, using the fabric itself as the wiring for each piece of equipment. You can read the full article over at theguardian.com. All
right, next up. You might be surprised to learn that professional sports teams were using wearables to prevent their players from working too hard. Over at thestar.com, you can read how the Toronto FC, what's the Toronto FC?
Football club.
Football club,
yeah.
okay. Toronto FC Football Club is monitoring all the players with $40,000 in wearables, with the primary aim of keeping players from pushing themselves too hard or exercising at unsafe levels. They couldn't recover time for games. Now they can catch long-term problems before they start to happen and keep their players fresh and healthy.
Then up next, we've got an interesting article that asks the question, will wearables make VR more appealing? Wearable.com, that's Wareable.com, seems to think so. This article shows off 3 of the big contenders for devices that augment the VR experience. They show devices that work with the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, and Sony's Project Morpheus, with the Oculus looking like the clear winner at this point. Standard controllers that you use with a game console work pretty well in VR, but perhaps these kinds of controllers will take VR to the next level.
Oops, sorry about that. All right, and that brings us to a new segment. We have. It's called Blast from the Past. These are wearable. Basically, you might think that a wearable is a new thing, but in all reality, we've had wearables and techs ever since somebody strapped an abacus or sundial on their wrist. In this segment, we're going to be highlighting some of the techs of days of yore, back in the days when wizards blew out magic spells and stuff. I don't know. So we're going to start with this Gizmodo article. It was a few months old, but they highlight two different people that created wearables back in the 20s. This one, this guy actually put a radio inside of a top hat, which was pretty cool. But get this, look at this, check this out. That's what, Andy Garcia? Holy Moses! What the heck? He actually developed in-ear earbuds, back in 1922, and probably one of the first headphone wearable tech right there. So we've had headphones like this, like these earbuds I'm wearing right here, since back in the 20s. So he was. This was all through the information in the magazine Science and Invention. I do not know these people's names. I tried to look them up, but couldn't find them anywhere. I don't know why. So if you got that issue, I think it's like May 1926 of Science and Invention. If you got that, please link it up to me. So you laugh, but somebody might actually do that, Luke. So it's very, very, very possible. So
you make a good point there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I try to make as many good points as I can. So, but if you want to check that out, go over to Gizmodo.com. Okay. So, what type? Do you have anything wearable technology from more than 5 years ago? And little Casio wristwatches or anything like that counts.
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. You put me on the spot a little bit here.
Of course I did. That's your job. That's my job.
Yeah. So I don't know if let's see, what would be some of the old wearable technology? Yeah, nothing comes to mind. I'll have to think about that for a little bit just to see what is the oldest piece of wearable technology that I've got. There's probably don't know. I'm guessing there's some toy that I would wear. Ooh, I never had one, but one of the oldest ones that I probably played with was like a power glove. Where it was like when I was a kid, right? You could wear this controller and punch Mike Tyson or whatever.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then you were like, wait, actually buttons are a lot quicker for that, and it doesn't wear you out nearly as much. So exactly. That's probably one of the oldest pieces that I remember using.
Okay. I'm trying to think myself. I did have some wearable stuff, and I know it. The old Game Boy VR. Before that, well, I remember Walkmans. The first Walkman came out. That's wearable technology. I remember having one of those, except in the generic version of that. And so that's pretty much it from now. But that's the whole idea. Is we're gonna highlight some of the stuff that it's gonna bring back some memories. That's for sure. From repeaters to to stuff that putting a TV on your head like a hat and stuff like that, and of course these earbuds from Andy Garcia. So that's going to be what this whole segment's going to be about. It's called Blast from the Past. So if you've got some blast go ahead.
I think it was Andy Garcia's grandfather, not actually Andy Garcia.
Well, it could be, but if you've got some wearable tech, some old wearable tech, you want to take a picture of it, send it to us. Jeff at wearabletoday.com, Luke at wearabletoday.com, Bertie at wearabletoday.com, and we'll go from there. So let's move on to the next segment of the show, which we call Fun to Me. Speaking of headphones, boom, 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 boom. Are you looking? There we go. Are you looking for a set of headphones that, just kind of wrap around your wrist so you don't have to worry about them? Well, that's what this funding is for. 38 days to go. They've met their goal, but this is so freaking cool. Nobody's thought of this until now. I just don't understand it. So basically what it is, it's a set of Bluetooth earbuds, and it's stored in that wrist strap that you saw in that image right there. So basically what happens is you pull out one side of the wrist strap. Let's get a picture of this up here. There it is. You pull the headphones out. You still have the strap around your wrist, of course. That's the holder, and then of course you wear the earbuds, just like that. Simple as that. Similar to the Jawbone Up for the wristband, and of course it pairs to any Bluetooth 4.1 device. It's starting at $99, and of course we all have at least 3 sets of headphones. I've got like 72 sets of headphones. I know, from big foam headphones to these in-ears to these nice little Jawbones that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, and these Helix. I'm really thinking about checking out this Kickstarter and going from there. What are your thoughts on that? How many headphones do you have, including the headphones that connect to your Google Glass, which I see you're wearing?
Oh, yes. So I have many sets of headphones. Most of them are pretty cheap, especially if you're talking about earbud kind of things like this one is.
Yeah.
I do have the single earbud for the Google Glass. They gave with the revision of it. And then I've probably got 5 or 6 little sets of earbuds that I've picked up from various places, freebies at conventions, freebies from airlines, different things. I'll pretty much always take a set of those because I can have them kind of in all my bags, and I've got this set at work and this set at home and this set in here and there and just all over. I do have a nice set of headphones that are like noise canceling, the big over the ear kind. I like those for traveling especially. So I've got a few sets. This one is pretty tempting looking though. I don't know if the $200 normal price point is really what I would be willing to pay, but $99, it's like that's not too crazy for a pair of nice Bluetooth headphones. Definitely tempting. I can understand why they've already reached their funding, because there's a lot of people that would say yes, that is actually a great price, and I would love something that I could carry with me all the time. That is always a problem for me, is like, well, I kind of like to have earbuds with me, but it's inconvenient to carry them, which sounds crazy because they're so small, but they always tangle up in your pocket. And it's like, well, then it's one pocket that like you stick your keys in there, it might tear them or something. And so like having something that you can wear on your wrist is nice. I couldn't figure out how they recharge. It says through some sort of USB connection, but
there's a USB connection on it. So.
I didn't see it in any of the pictures, and so I'm wondering like, where is it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I looked through all the pictures, I couldn't find it, but if somebody noticed, I would love to. I'm
guessing. So okay, you have. So you got you can see the mouse, right? So you have the earbud part right there, and then you have this little piece right here, which has all the controls. I bet you the USB is right on that piece right here, because it doesn't make sense to have it on the wristband. It's got to be right here. So. But it is. It says it is USB charging. So maybe it is. Maybe it is. You plug it in and then like take off this piece and plug that right into a computer or something like that.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. So
It's really nice looking, though.
oh yeah, let's see what this one does. This one doesn't really show it, but yeah. So it's interesting. And like I said, I do have a lot of headphones. Funny stories. Doing video stuff, I always have to have a set of headphones to hear what's being recorded to make sure that like no batteries have died or the audio's especially with wireless audio, if somebody's stepping on my wireless signal or something like that. So when I forget headphones, the first thing I do is go into the expo hall and I scan all the booths for I think you just muted yourself. That freaked me out for a second. Anyway, scan all the booths for a set of headphones and go from there. So, in fact, we were in Barcelona, and I was with Jake Luddington, and he forgot his headphones. So we went to the expo hall, and we scanned all the booths. We didn't find any headphones, except for one set, which was in this vending machine that was showing off how vending machines can to give out electronics, and they didn't have the keys for the vending machine. We couldn't plug it in and just buy one. They were in there. It was just a display. It was just like, so we had to work without headphones. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I've actually met Jake Luddington, and I met him and Chris Perillo back at I think it was an E3 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, so the pretty cool stuff, and it's so low tech. I mean, it's not like tracking software or anything like that. It's just a set of headphones, but it's just one of those things you think of. Oh yeah, and the best part is that thing doesn't have to wrap around your wrist. You can put it around a bag or something like that, and go from there. If they had a lockable version that it locked at both ends, I could see putting that around a bag strap or something. So. Anyway, if you want to read more on that, we've got that over at the Kickstarter project over there. Let's move on to the thing we call there we are. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. It's weird. Anyway, sorry about that. All right, let's move on to Apple Watch. Microsoft, Apple Watch has now got a great new email app from a name that you might not expect. Microsoft has updated version of their iOS app, and with the Apple Watch support comes the impressive TechCrunch. Support is even impressing TechCrunch. I can read. So they say that you can see more. Basically, it's a Microsoft Outlook for iOS, and it's now available for your watch, and a lot of people are apparently really happy that it's in there, and you can even set it as the default mail app. Is that true, Luke?
No, it's even better than the default mail
I'm
app.
sorry.
Yes, you can read.
I'm getting thrown because of the new processes I have to process while I'm processing this whole process.
Whatever you need.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about this app right here, Luke.
So it integrates not only with Outlook, which a lot of people do use, especially at work, but it also integrates with your Gmail, your iCloud, your Yahoo accounts. So you can use your Apple Mail accounts. You can use those with this new Outlook app, and people say or at least TechCrunch is saying that they like it even better than the default mail app. So maybe people should check it out because it might make your Apple Watch that much more useful.
That is, if you actually use Outlook with, you actually use Outlook. And then most people, if you're running enterprise software, of course, you're probably using Outlook. And then, of course, that becomes a permissions issue if you can put it onto your Apple Watch. If that's all the case, then go for it. But if you don't use Outlook, then what's the point?
Well, like I said, you can use Gmail or Yahoo or iCloud accounts with it as well. So you could, if you've got Gmail and you use that on there, you might want to switch over and use Outlook and log into your Gmail through Outlook.
Oh, that's true.
And then
that's true.
And basically use that. So
all right. Well, then
it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Like you should take a look at the screenshots that TechCrunch has and kind of see like, ooh, is that what you want on your watch? Because then you could get it.
All right, you convinced me. I'll get it for my Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you have an Apple Watch now?
no.
Okay, just checking.
No, I'm trying to be the Verizon guy from that Verizon commercial. Is that your Verizon bill? Yeah. It must be cool, right? No. Anyway, not to ditch Verizon because, this phone here is from Verizon or friends of Verizon. So, it's just a cool commercial. So, anywho. That's it. That's it for big news, little arms. You like that cup, don't you?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it gives me a nice echo into the microphone.
There you go. So you were wearing your Google Glass. I decided to wear my Google Glass, but the funny thing is, I actually plugged it in today. I wanted to, kind of charge it up and see how it's going, and if there were any updates that I didn't know about or I didn't receive. I was on. It turned out I was on XE22, which is the current build, I believe. Yes. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is the most interesting part about this whole thing. When I went to turn this on, these Google Glass on, it started and I flipped it over and it said weather 1 below, and I was going. It's kind of like 85 degrees outside. It's not 1 below, but it was 1 below in the last time I had this thing charged or turned on to check the weather. So, and of course, it was telling me sports scores and stuff like that. So the bottom line is I haven't used my Google Glass in probably about 6 months. It's a bad thing because I really want to use it more. But once again, with me, I've broken so many by just sweating on it. I don't want to break this pair of Google Glass. So what do you do? Now, it was just really odd or really funny that on the same day you were wearing your Google Glass, and you were doing some extra work. What were you doing with them?
I was doing some video recording. I've been working on a little project. It's kind of related to my Halloween costume. This one I can show to you. So I've got this kind of extra 3D printed little ball that I've been working on, and what I'm going to do is try out some painting processes, and so I've been painting it, and so I've wanted to record this process so that people on YouTube or whatever that maybe are like, I wonder if this process works. I've seen a lot of different ones. I haven't seen the exact one that I'm going to try, and so I wanted to do a demonstration of it. And the easiest way to record a video of something that you are doing, I've found, is Google Glass. Now, I don't have a GoPro, or I might use that, but for what I've got around the house, like Google Glass actually works really well because I can basically use both my hands and demonstrate right in front of the camera and just go through it, and you're literally seeing exactly what I see, and so you can you're not trying to like say, well, wait, what's he doing over there, from like you're seeing it from this side and I'm doing something on this side of it, like, oh, wait, is he, what's he doing over there? So it's really nice for that. So that's what I just had it out for. I went out and recorded a video of me sanding this part down just a little bit, and kind of talking about that. So that YouTube series or set of videos will be up hopefully in the next few weeks. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it in like 2 or 3 videos or just one long video or what, but get started on that.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like, if it wasn't for the fact that this just does 30 frames a second in 720p, I'd be using more of this. But it's nice for little videos like how-to videos and stuff like that. And I've done many of video using my Google Glass. In fact, I was just looking at a video I did of plane. I always take videos of takeoffs and landings of places I go to, and I did this one in Google Glass. I was just looking at that the other day, and it's still got its merit. And of course, there's still a lot of people that wear their Google Glass, and they're very happy with it, and they take a lot of pictures and videos. And I wish I could be one of those people, but once again, until I can figure out how I can keep these safe from my sweat, then I'm just gonna wear them in the studio and go from there. So
Yeah.
so. Were you looking at me? I should be looking at you. I'm sorry. Look at
okay.
me. I look at you.
I like this setup. I will say, just as a little technical note, I'm getting a lot of static from your audio, so I don't know if there's something you can do on about that.
But it's not gonna. You're not gonna notice it on the main stuff. So.
Okay. Well,
It's just you.
It's just if it's just annoying me, then I'm fine.
It's just annoying you.
So,
You're just annoying. I mean, it's just annoying you. Sorry.
a little from column A, a little from column B.
Column B. Okay. Hey, I want to say hey, thanks to our friends over at CashFly for the RSS bandwidth. Of course, we do this on Google. We're not doing a Google Hangout this time, but everything is found up on youtube.com/This Week in Glass, where Wearable Today is. We ask you to go in there and subscribe, because once we get to a certain point, we can actually change the name to Wearable Today and go from there. But if you're watching through iTunes, audio and video is supplied by the bandwidth over at CashFly. If you're a podcaster, 2 terabytes free for 14 days to check it out and see how cool this CDN is. And of course, use that promo code Geekazine. Geekazine. Think magazine, put in the Geekazine, you got that. Bandwidth by CashFly. And of course, our friends over at wearabletoday.com/deals, which is basically Amazon. You can go there, wearabletoday.com/deals. You can get some great deals on some refurb wearable tech, like this Motorola Moto 360 is $126. You can get a Pebble smartwatch for $73.27. You can buy me a Pebble smartwatch for $73.27. I'll give you my address. You just put it into Amazon and just say, hey, send it to this guy. Here's a nice Sony smartwatch, 86. These are some great prices for some gently worn wearables. So if you really want to get into the wearable stuff, here's June UV monitoring wearable. I talked to these guys at TechCrunch Disruptica a year or two ago, and Nitamo, they've got some great stuff. So check it out over at wearabletoday.com/deals. Also, if you want to promote the show, support the show, just go over to youtube.com/This Week in Glass. Click that blue button on the right side and give us some money straight up. Drop some money in the bucket, and we're all good to go. So, let's see, anything. Oh, yeah, one more thing. We have a new location, and I'm going to show you a page. It's going to look like nothing, but we now have Reddit in our pocket. Back pocket, whatever. So, reddit.com/r/wearable today. Hoping to do some more Redditing. Luke, do you Reddit at all?
No, I do not actually.
Okay. Do you have friends that Reddit? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
you have to have
pretty
friends.
much everybody I know is on Reddit, okay. Or they read Reddit, or they read Reddit,
or Reddit,
or something.
Reddit. Yeah, Jennifer reads Reddit too every night, and she loves it. But yeah, definitely tell them to go over to Wearable Today. It's now up and going. We're gonna throw links on there. Hopefully this is where we're going to get some of our news articles, is over at Wearable Today on Reddit. So I'll have the links up there, and slowly they'll be up on the webpage and go from there. So
yeah, be a great resource for people that want to connect with the show, or yeah, all the news stories that we've got, we can at least link to over there.
Exactly. All right, let's move on. I got our friends over at Jabra sent me a pair of these. These are the Sport headsets. They're Bluetooth headsets, and they're training headsets, which is great because, I don't know if you guys know, but I've been suffering in the last month from bursitis, whatever it is. It's basically I'm having some hip issues. My back went out earlier this summer, and I re-aggravated it and caused my hip to go out. And so now I'm doing a lot to try and get my hip back in order, because it hurts when I stand and walk. So I've been doing a lot of walking, and I've been putting this into my setup here, because it helps me in mapping out a lot and telling me out. And of course, if you go to my Facebook page, and I'll go to my Facebook page. If you don't go to my Facebook page, I'll show you what I mean, because I've been mapping it out in posts here. of how I've been doing in here. In fact, today I did a 2.27 mile walk right there. Completed walking 2.27 miles in 53:38. 2.27 miles I could do in my sleep 4 weeks ago, but with the hip, it's painful. So I'm not really caring about the calories burned. I'm just caring about getting the muscles back up and running, so I can be, get fit and get strong again. So this doesn't hurt as much, because I do not wish this on anybody. Not even you, Luke. Don't wish it on you, or Birdie.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
So, but anyway,
I know that back issues can be horrible.
Yeah. So lots of great features on here. It basically, I'll show you the app here, and let's pull it up here. So in the app, it actually, here we'll go to the history. It shows you, zoom in a little bit. Can you see? You okay?
Yeah.
Everything okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. So here's the app right here. It's showing you the history. This is the latest walk, and it's tracked me, and it even mapped out my directions, which way I went. And during the walk, it'll have this little automated voice that says, we just went through a quarter of a mile or something like that, and it tells me my average pace and how many steps I've done and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool and great stuff that only I need to know, but it's something that I can strive for. So tomorrow I could walk 2.28 miles, and then the next day I could walk 4 miles or something like that, and go from there. So have you used any of these types of wearables at all?
Probably not specific wearables, but I have used apps like that. I've used Google MyTracks before, and then Runkeeper. I like MyTracks because it has a lot of that same audio cues. You basically can have it be listening to music, and then it'll just come over that and say, hey, you've run this far, you've gone this kind of distance. The little iPod Nano, one of the old iPod Nanos, it had the same kind of feature of you could basically be jogging and it would come over the music and tell you, hey, you've run this far, and this is your current pace, and this is your total average pace, or something like that. So I forget the details of it. I haven't been out running in a while because it's been 100 degrees all the time, and that's kind of hot for running. And
Okay. Well, some people love to run in that. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's way too hot, 100 degree. We're in 80 degree weather, so it's a little bit more tolerable to walk. So
yeah.
And the other thing is, it came with a nice little smiley face case.
Yeah.
So or half moon, whatever you call it. So, and it's got extra earbuds in there. It's got extra the little ear hook things in different sizes. So if I need to switch them out, I can. USB charged, using the micro USB, and charge lasts pretty long. It still says about 2.5 hours on this one, so I was pretty impressed on that. So anyway, so that's the Jabber. If you want to check that out, we'll have the link in the show notes where you can get one of those. So, all right, Google Fit. You want to talk about Google Fit?
Just a little bit. So we were talking about health. So this weekend, one of the things I did for Wearables was actually played around with the Google Fit SDK. If you're familiar with it, good, because it's not real well publicized. It hasn't been real well marketed by Google, I guess is probably the right word. But it's basically their version of Health Kit, where it's based on all the activity that you do. And so my Moto 360 and my phone all log all of this activity information into Google Fit, and you can actually write your own app that integrates with it. Let's say you've got your own fitness wearable. You can write some software that'll connect to the Google Fit APIs and let users send data from your device to this one common place. And the idea is you can then aggregate all of it and get a really good picture of your activity, because maybe you don't take your Moto 360 on a run, or maybe you don't have your phone with you, and so you don't want to do that kind of thing. What I played around with this weekend was actually writing an app that sends data to the Google Fit SDK, and it wasn't really that hard. I'm going to be working on a presentation for later this week at the Dallas Android Developer Group. It's GDG Dallas. I'm going to be giving a presentation on Google on the Google Fit SDK, and so I needed to learn how to use it. And so I read a little bit about it, but I never really used it myself, and so got that working. And it's actually pretty easy. I even have an idea for an app that I might be demoing and talking about at the Big Android Barbecue this fall. So I've got to submit that as a talk to give in October. A couple months away, so I've got a couple of months to build a simple app, and I think I can probably do that. So
when is
it was really interesting.
When is the big barbecue?
Big Android Barbecue. It's in October. Let me get the exact dates. October 22nd and 23rd, which is, I think, a Thursday, Friday.
That's possible.
So
I might have to see if I can tool down there and stop in and see what it's about.
It's definitely the biggest Android-centric, community-driven event in the world, and it happens, it's happening this year in Dallas. And this year they're going to have a lot of Google speakers there. They're going to have Rito Meyer, Colt McCandless, Chad Haas, Timothy Jordan, a few other Googlers there. So there's some really big names in the Android space if you're in Android development or you know anything about Android development. Those are some very very well-known names. They write a lot of the Android code that runs on phones all over the world. So it's pretty neat that they're actually coming to this event, which is not run by Google, to speak and kind of host the event. So pretty big deal.
That's pretty cool. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I can get down there and go from there. So let's talk a little bit about, and this was all last minute. So let's talk for a second about Alphabet. So I know you wanted to talk about that a little bit. This announcement was made, and at first I thought, it's from what I was first read was that it was just a spin-off that Sergey Brin and the other guy. Larry Page, that's it. That they wanted to do, but now it's starting to sound, because I was reading this article, and it's over at the independent.co.uk, and it's saying that Google is now Alphabet, and Alphabet is Google. But I thought Alphabet was supposed to be something completely different. But the Independent is saying that a lot of the businesses are now getting spin off into Alphabet, and Google is just going to be the search engine.
Yeah,
what have you read?
So it's a little unclear. I've read the press release that Google put out and the some of the commentary. What it sounds like is Google has spun off a new parent company. So Alphabet will actually be the holding company for Google. It's not unusual to have companies that don't have very many employees themselves, but have children companies, subsidiaries, whatever the right technical business term is, that those companies have thousands of employees. So like the company I work for is part of a company which is part of a bigger parent company, and that parent holding company doesn't have a whole lot of employees technically itself. It actually is just kind of a holding company that has a bunch of subsidiaries that all report up through it, each with their own CEOs and presidents and such. And so that's kind of what Google did, is they made a new parent company to be the new Google.
Yeah.
So instead of Google owning Nest and Boston Dynamics and all of these other little companies, it's going to be Alphabet that now owns Google, which will be focused on search and maybe YouTube. And like, people aren't really sure what Google's going to keep and what's going to be spun off completely. But there's all these other companies that they've acquired that don't really fit as part of a web search engine. They're kind of something else completely. And so I think there may be some new companies that spin off that can report directly to Alphabet without having to like go through Google. Okay. And Google can focus more on being Google, which is really, like you said, it's search engine, and then there's Google ads and things like that are related to the search engine more directly. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, basically. So they've got the
I tell people that all the time.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just a goal. Like, I mean, that's just how it works. If you don't search Google, generally people are searching YouTube, and then everything else is kind of below that. So, so YouTube you could see still being part of Google because it's still kind of search engine based. Or there's a certain amount of like, well, people don't go to YouTube and generally just browse because there's 20 new minutes of video for every second of the day, kind of a thing. It's like you can't just browse YouTube. You have to search for something. And so...
Well, you can also you can follow the stream. You basically video to video to video to video.
Yeah. You can subscribe and find channels and all that stuff, but you generally have to like search for something to find, or they have recommendations and all that. But anyway, so all of these other companies will now, instead of going like eventually rolling up to this guy that leads the search engine and now has to be the CEO for all these other type of companies as well, all he can worry about is the more googly stuff. And so now these other can be kind of separate and run by their own CEOs that report up to Larry and Sergey, and they'll be separate but equal in a sense. And it'll probably help flatten the organization somewhat because you won't need as many middle managers because they'll be kind of spread out across the organizations and they won't have to interact. Like there won't be these guys that are like, well, who takes care of that? Like, well, he does search and robots, and it's like, well, why does he do search and robots? Those are two completely different things. Like, how do you possibly maintain both of those? And like, well, okay, now robots can be their own little thing.
There's a lot of awesome advantages to that. It's kind of like I remember during my college days I worked over at Taco Bell, and Taco Bell was franchised, and then it turned out Pepsi ended up buying it, in which Yum Brands is part of Pepsi. No, Yum Brands bought it from Pepsi. So whatever it is, but basically it's now called Yum Brands. And underneath Yum Brands, you have Taco Bell, you have KFC, and you have Pizza Hut. And you probably have I know there's a hamburger place that we don't have.
A&W and Long John Silver's.
Well, that must be new ones, because there was another one. It was kind of like a Jack in the Box type burger place. It was like, they took over the old Photo Mart type things. It was just basic drive-through. I can't remember the name of the burger place. I'd have to look it up. But the whole point is that, you can make chicken, pizza, and tacos and still be under the same umbrella. So that's what Google's doing, is their YouTube, their Google, their Nest, their whatever. But the real question is, who is going to run what? I mean, so is the CEO is what, Sergey now, right? If I remember correctly.
Of Alphabet, yes.
Who's the CEO of Google?
The new CEO is, I'm gonna probably ruin the name. It's Sundar. Okay. He basically was in charge of Chrome and Android. He's the guy, one of the head guys that comes out at Google I/O and talks. Now he's in charge. Sundar. It starts with a P.
Or something like that, isn't it? I can't remember.
You're
the whole
too
point.
staticky for me to make it
that's
out.
okay. So, but now here's a whole opportunity for a whole bunch of people to become CEOs. But the better thing is, here's an opportunity for there to be less San Francisco Google and more New York Google and more Boise Google and Salt Lake City Google and more Austin Google and stuff like that. Or I'm sorry, Alphabet, and go from there. So
yeah, because it'll be easier to have those groups run independently. Yeah, the company that I used to work for before I worked for the company I work for now was the same kind of thing. There was a holding company over all of these groups, and they all kind of were in related fields, but all had little specialities. And I think there was a huge benefit in having these companies be specialized for their one segment of the market and not have to like roll up and then be under some other division inside this company. It was like they could all kind of run independently. And generally, these smaller companies run a little smoother and more efficiently than, I'm just going to give an example of HP, just because they're a massive organization. And they just have, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees maybe. And like, it's hard to really be doing things, in an agile way, when you've got this huge ship.
Yeah, which is why HP's splitting to HP. You have an HP Enterprise, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So, So it's at the bottom. Yeah, the people that make the chicken can make the chicken. The people that make the pizza can make the pizza, and the people that can make the tacos can make the tacos. And we're all going to have a late night craving at 3 a.m. I have a late night craving right now for some tacos and Sangrita Blast. Yeah, dang it. So.
Yeah, Yum Brands is based out of Dallas, and actually currently work in the old Pizza Hut building. Nice. It's where Pizza Hut used to be based out of, and so they moved to a different office, and we've now moved into where they used to be. So
cool. So you make the pizzas. Awesome. Now, real quick question: where does that place Android? Do you think that Android is going to all of a sudden get its own company? Or is it going to be placed in Google? Where do you think it's going to go? Because that's where we need to focus on in this case.
Yeah, so the wearables that Google has right now are all based on Android.
Yeah.
This was based on Android Wear, obviously based on Android. It's a good question. It was definitely a topic of conversation today at work with all the Android developers kind of going like, so is Android going to be a Google thing or now an Alphabet thing? And they haven't really said. A guy who is running or was running Chrome and Android is running Google. It makes me think that it would be kind of weird to have him just like all of a sudden like all of his responsibility or a huge part of it is just gone. So I would guess that Android is going to stay under Google, but that's just a guess at this point, honestly. I could see it becoming its own thing. Like Android is just an Alphabet product and it's just it's our mobile OS that we use, and we use it for, we integrate our search engine with it. We use it in other hardware, other divisions use it. Yeah. I could see it going either way. I don't feel like they're going to change too quickly, but a year from now, like all of a sudden it could be like, Android's now its own thing. It's not technically Google anymore, but you never know.
Well, the other thing is, with Google Glass, now that they want to be enterprise and everything, that brings a whole new idea, because now you can have Android and you can have Android Enterprise, and those could be two completely separate companies as well, if they split it off that way. So one can still be they both still make chicken, but one makes Cajun style chicken and the other one makes regular chicken. Man, I'm making
one is their what's the hot sticks? No, it's like chicken. Like there's one that they're testing out here that KFC is doing this experimental chicken place, Super Chicks. And if you look it up, it's they serve just like chicken sandwiches and custard and fresh fries, and that's about it. It's kind of a new type of chicken place, and
is it competing with Culver's? You got a Culver's down there, right?
No, we do not have Culver's in this area.
Okay.
Or at least not any sort of large. I don't think so. I don't think there's.
For those of you who don't know, Culver's is an actual burger place that started about 30 minutes north of Madison, and in a place called City. And they've been expanding because their big thing is what's called a butter burger, but they also have custard, and they also have chicken and stuff like that. And a lot of analysts have been saying that the McDonald's structure of fast food will be on in the next 5 years. McDonald's model is becoming non-sustainable. And so you got to think of other ways to do it, and this kind of quasi-gastro type thinking with changing the way that instead of getting a whole chicken or getting Kentucky Fried Chicken, you get chicken strips and you get special boxes and stuff like that. Same thing here. We're getting off topic, yeah, I know, but it's interesting, and with Alphabet, in all reality, Alphabet could open up a fast food joint under that umbrella. So
yeah, they could definitely try something in fast food. They could try something where it's more automated. They could try something where it's a whole different sort of delivery mechanism, or you have to order online and then you just go up to the window, and so you don't even have it's a pickup place with no inside seating, but it's super efficient space usage.
It's a Tinder for fast food.
I couldn't hear you.
It's Tinder for fast food. You said it was a pickup place, right?
Yeah, that's not what I meant by pickup place, but it's the Tinder for Uber's chicken offering. Yes.
All right. All done by Mr. Delivery and Grubhub.
Yeah. In partnership with Grubhub.
Grubhub, yeah.
And StubHub. You can also get tickets with your chicken.
Okay. We went way off topic. But
kind of.
Yeah, but this happened last minute, and we wanted to talk about it, and I didn't really understand the whole gravity of Alphabet just yet, and so we should have probably focused around there. We do have the main focus. I think we're going to leave it at that, though. We'll talk about our main focus next week, and we'll talk about this company next week. This can sit on the sidelines for a week. But just some final thoughts on what's happening, and where do you think that Google or Alphabet is going to go direction-wise when it comes to wearables?
Ooh, great question. Birdie's coming in for this one. I think that it will only get better. And that's very generic, but let me be more specific. I think what they're going to do is they're going to be able to either acquire or internally create new divisions, new companies, basically innovate faster and better because they won't have as large of a single organization that they're trying to manage. I think that they'll be able to each group run independently, and we're going to see wearables just explode, because not literally explode, but we're going to see we're going to see the market and innovation just take off, because they will be able to go in different directions, and each group will be able to kind of compete with each other, but also work together in a sense, if that makes any sense, where they'll be able to utilize the technology from each division, and so they'll be kind of able to work together when they want to, but then they'll all be working in their in kind of their own direction to create something amazing. And so I would normally see, it seems kind of weird, but everybody at Google that I've met and worked with, and all the things I've seen them do, they're very smart people, and they usually make pretty good decisions when you have all of the information that they have.
Agreed.
From the outside, when you don't have all the information, it looks kind of weird. Like, why in the world would you spin off a new holding company? But I have a feeling that they put a lot of thought into this, and they did not just, wake up one morning and be like, you know what, Google needs a company to be part of instead of it being the big company. Like, I'm guessing that they found this and they made this the solution to whatever the problem is that they're seeing. Either they're too big or they're getting too diverse or something. And they said, this is not sustainable. This is not the direction we want to go in. We need to do something. And they said, they worked through all the solutions and they said, this is it. And so I have a feeling that we're going to see really great things come out of it. Wearables will probably be a big part of that, just because they're making such a big push for it in the past year.
Okay.
That I think they're really going to do some interesting stuff.
That's good, and I think they are too. I think that it's very that we have already seen some of this get pushed away, and I'm talking back when Google went and bought Motorola Mobility, and we saw that they had to do to keep Motorola Mobility, and I think that changes things. This whole structure changes things because they can keep a little bit more of that company as they go. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So, but the whole point is, this will be interesting to see how this unfolds. I'm really surprised that they got the name Alphabet. I mean, they must have been sitting on that company name for a long time, and nobody else has grabbed that up, because that's just, it's just one of those no-brainer things. It's like
one of our guys at work did a domain that they launched with, which is, if anyone wants to go to their website, it's abc.xyz. No joke. And if you look up the who is on that, you can actually see that they've owned this domain for over a year. So, I mean, they've been sitting on this for a while, trying to decide when they were going to launch this and what they were going to do with it. So, you can tell this was not a decision that they just made last month, and they're just like, that's it, new parent company. It's like they've probably been working on this for quite a while. Yeah,
that's an interesting. You're seeing the webpage right now, and of course, I'm guessing that XYZ is a Google-owned top-level domain.
I don't know.
We'll see what happens. But now then, thinking about it, it's like, they could have easily have alphabet.google, and then you have Google as a top-level domain. I could see that easily, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it affects us in the wearable market, and go from there. So we went way over time, and we didn't get into our main focus, but this focus was a little bit more new, fresh, whatever you want to call
Topical?
it. Topic. Yeah, like an ointment. So
No, that's not what I meant.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well,
this is more like an ointment.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
If you'd like to interact with me more like an ointment, you can reach me over at google.com/+Luke Wallace. I have no idea what that means. And at Luke Luca on Twitter. Just look down over here. It's hard for me.
You got it. Good job.
There you go. Down in this area. If you're watching the video, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I'm pointing at something you can't see. Luke Luca on Twitter. Or you can find me at biglettershirt.com.
For big letter shirts.
For big letter shirts. For shirts. With a big letter on them. You can get a small shirt, but get a big letter. For shirt. Hey, that's a good tagline. For sure. Subtle. I like it.
Yeah. So. Anyway, if you want to find me, I'm a big scab up on the interweb over at geekazine.com. Think magazine, put in the geek. You got Geekazine, of course, Twitter handle being Geekazine, geekazine@gmail.com, Jeff at wearabletoday.com. You can also go to our brand new Reddit page over at reddit.com/r/wearable today. And we've got a lot of other great stuff coming. Our friends, like I said, our friends over at Cashfly helping us with the bandwidth of the non-YouTube channels for the RSS and iTunes feeds. And there's some more cool stuff coming down the pike. I'm telling you that right now. Shh, don't tell anybody else. Tell them to watch the show. That's how you find out. That's how you found out, right, Luke?
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. You guys geek out. We'll see you next time on the next episode of Wearable. Oh, you're waving. I'm sorry. Here, we'll take out the... Go to that again. Wave again. Say bye. Oh. Bye, Luke.
Bye, Jeff.
This is Wearable Today.